Welcome to the podcast. It's the magical holidays. Time for Joe watching 60 Christmas movies in 60 days. Why, you might ask? Because it sounds like a crazy task to be watching 60 Christmas movies in 60 days. It'll be struggle, no I won't lie. By the halfway point I will lose my mind, but with your support I'm gonna be fine. So let's have a blast on this Christmas time. Join me now and let's find out about today's Christmas movie. Was it good or bad? Happy or sad? Is there another dead mom and dad? Let's get to it with no delay. It's your old pal Joe and he's happy to say welcome to Joe watches 60 Christmas movies in 60 days.
How's it going, everybody? It's me, it's your old pal Joe. Welcome to episode 56 of Joe Watches 60 Christmas Movies in 60 Days. Oh man, I'm in a bit of a recording marathon here today because I have episodes ready to go. I just need to record them, and I'm recording them on day 59 out of 60, so just to give you an idea of what's going on. Before we talk about today's movie, of course, we must stop in and check on our friends over at Third Eye Comics. Third Eye Comics, the best place I can tell you to go for comics, graphic novels, movies, music, gaming equipment, snacks, friendship, mentorship, just guidance. You need any of these things, you head to a Third Eye Comics location. They have stores in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia areas, and they also are available to everyone, regardless of where you live, at shop.thirdeyecomics.com. Head on over there and support them because they supported me. Thank you very much. Today's movie is Christmas Festival of Ice. It's the second ice sculpting movie that I believe I've watched this year. This one is not magical. We open with photos of a father and daughter over the years at an ice sculpting contest. According to these photos, they sure do make a lot of snowmen as their topic du jour. The daughter is Emma and one of our main characters. Actually, she is the main character. There's no real other main characters in this. Okay, there's a love interest, but I think in this case, Emma's mostly the main character. It doesn't matter. Let's move on. After the opening montage, we follow Emma walking to work with her buddy Sarah. We find out Emma is excited to ice sculpt with her dad this year. It's been 3 years since she's been able to work with her dad. That's because she's been in law school. She heads over to Parker Law Offices where her mom has a practice, and she also works there until she passes her bar exam. She's waiting for the results of her bar exam as we speak. Well, not as we speak, but at this moment in the movie. Emma sure hopes she passes. Lastly, we also learn that Emma noticed that they haven't been setting up for the ice sculpting contest this year. She asks a co-worker and finds out some new guy is in charge, and he may be in over his head with the whole event because he's in charge of the entire Christmas festival, not just the ice sculpting event. On the way home for the night, she stops by a nearby tree farm to take in the scent of the trees. It's not a tree farm, it's like a tree lot. That's more like a tree lot. She runs into her other main character. I guess I did call him a main character. Anyway, his name is Nick, and he's her eventual love interest. He runs the tree lot. Emma notices a really nice ice sculpture behind some of the trees. She asks Nick who made it. Turns out it was Nick's brother. But why is it hidden away behind the trees? That could really draw in customers. He says his brother doesn't like showing off his work. Emma says, well, I've been ice sculpting since I was little, and I can tell you this is good work. We find out Nick runs a tree farm that has been in his family for years, and she used to go to that farm when she was little. As they chat, they start getting into each other. A lot more and more, they're getting into each other. Later that night, Emma checks her computer and finds out the ice sculpture contest has been canceled. She is upset. Cut to her complaining to her parents about this. They're understanding, but also understand why it might have been canceled. It seems like it's been losing popularity with the community over the years. Her mom chooses to focus on the positive, though. Emma will soon be a lawyer. Later, Emma hangs with her dad in the garage, and they talk ice sculpting. He pulls out her tools for her, and they work on a sculpture together. She's very satisfied. The next day, Emma stops by the office of the guy running the Christmas festival. She leaves her business card because he's out. She waits to hear from him, but he never calls. But then she sees him working on the festival outside. She asks about him canceling the ice sculpting thing, and he says he's sorry, but it wasn't in the budget. She asks about raising the money herself and finds out it costs $20,000 to put on the ice sculpting competition. She is blown away by that cost, but persists. Maybe she could raise half the money? He says, well, if you want to try to do that, I can tell you this. The most that we could possibly cover is $5,000, so you'd have to raise $15,000. If she can come up with the rest of that, then he'll have no problem putting the contest back on. Cut to Emma looking at the square where the ice sculpting competition would take place. Up walks Nick from the tree farm. They chat about the cancellation, and Emma explains that she's trying to raise money for it. He thinks it's great that she's trying something. They wander over to his little tree lot where Emma meets Nick's business partner, Lonnie. After Lonnie leaves, the two flirt a bit, but then Emma asks if it would be possible to meet Nick's brother, the one who ice sculpts. Nick gets very awkward and basically says that won't be possible. He says he's not that great with people. She gets frustrated that Nick isn't helping her and leaves in a bit of a huff. She also wanted maybe to involve his brother in the ice sculpting competition if it were to happen. We get a montage of Emma asking local businesses to donate what they can. Cut to Emma chatting with her buddy Sarah about her fundraising efforts. She thinks Emma has a tall order ahead of her. Emma notes that Sarah has run a big fundraiser before. Does she have any tips? Sarah promises to run her through things later. Cut to Nick talking to his buddy Lonnie. Lonnie asks how he met Emma. Then Nick explains. Cut to Nick. Lonnie asks if maybe they're going out. Nick says they are not going out. Lonnie says, "Man, it's been a year since you broke up with your ex. You should definitely get back out there." Nick takes this to heart. Cut to Emma's mom, who she works with at the law office. Noticing Emma is not at her desk, this is the second time she's noticed Emma not paying full attention to her work. Cut to the next day when Emma meets with her mom. She finds out there's a case they're working on that will require them to leave town for 2 days. Unfortunately, it's the 2 days right at the start of the festival. These are 2 important days that she could be using to raise money and awareness of the ice sculpting competition. Emma quietly freaks out. She decides to meet with the guy behind the festival again. This time she asks him if they can link to the town website, if the town website can link to her fundraiser. After some encouragement, he says yes. She's very excited. Later, she stops by the town museum to get some photos of old competitions to help promote her fundraiser. We then cut to Emma doing law work with her mom. Cut to Emma talking to her buddy Sarah. We find out she hasn't told her mom she's trying to raise money for the competition, and I don't know why. This is an ongoing plot of this movie. She never tells her mom that she's trying to raise money for the ice sculpting competition. Cut to Sarah, Emma's buddy, taking Emma out Christmas tree shopping without Emma knowing. She takes her to Nick's family farm. As they wander the farm, Emma sees lots of amazing ice sculptures. Sarah, her buddy, flirts with Lonnie, the guy who works with Nick. Emma snoops around and finds Nick's brother's workshop, but inside all she finds is Nick working on an ice sculpture. He's the sculptor. It's Nick. Emma is pissed. He apologizes for lying about having a brother. It's just that what he tells everybody. He doesn't really explain why he lies, though. They bicker a bit, but then Nick pulls out a business card of a guy who runs an ice company. She says that she should give him a call. He might be able to help with the ice sculpting fundraiser. Cut to Emma meeting with the ice guy. He asks why Emma wants to save it. She explains that the story about her and her dad always competing together and how they were looking forward to competing this year. He is touched and will let her know if he can help. Later, back at the law office, we get another scene of Emma lying to her mom. Cut to Lonnie giving Nick a hard time for not giving Emma a shot. Nick seems to be really scarred by whatever happened with his ex. The next day, Emma finds out she made her money. An anonymous donor donated $10,000. Cut to her telling the guy running the festival. He is so happy for Emma and so happy that the ice sculpting competition is back on. She then goes to tell Nick and Lonnie. She thanks Nick for sending her to the ice guy. He must have been the one who donated the money. She's also effusive with her praise for Nick, but he's very low-key in his reception to it. Nick goes to take care of a customer, and Lonnie tells Emma that Nick is struggling because of something someone did to him on a previous Christmas. Emma takes this all in and thinks. Next up, she leaves a message for the ice guy, thanking him for his big donation. Cut to Emma visiting Nick at his tree farm. She's there to give him a pep talk about competing in the competition, but also to tell him to not let anything get in his way if there's something that he really wants. But see, that is also sort of about her, you see. He then tells the tale of his heartbreak. He met a lady who also sculpted. They worked together. She started entering them in big competitions. Things were going great. But then, just before Christmas, after 3 years of dating, she tells him it's not working for her, and she moved to Los Angeles. She tells him that maybe he just needs to find someone new to work with. They start working on a sculpture together. Cut to Emma's mom visiting her dad at his job. She's really frustrated with Emma. She seems so busy with something else. Now, the dad knows what Emma is working on because he's helped her a little bit throughout the story. But he's not saying anything either, and I think that that's really messed up. Cut to Emma and Nick finishing up work on a sculpture. She needs to head out to do some of her law work. That night is the first night of the Christmas festival, by the way. Emma's mom and dad are there and hear the announcement about the return of the Christmas festival. Emma's dad goes to get Emma to share the good news. I guess she didn't tell him. I don't know. Cut to Emma hard at work in the office when Nick stops by. He was heading to the festival and decided to stop by her office. He's there to ask Emma to be his partner. Unfortunately, Emma already has a partner, her dad. Just as she's explaining this, her dad walks in the office and overhears. No one notices he's there. He's sad to hear Emma's telling Nick no. Cut to Emma's dad telling Emma that he's too busy with work and can't team up with her this year for the competition. Emma is very sad. He encourages her to find a new partner who loves sculpting as much as her. Cut to Emma telling Nick the news. They agree to be partners. We then jump to Emma running Nick through the rules. One thing she notices is he doesn't use power tools. She says for these types of larger sculptures that they'll need to be making, power tools are a must. They never touch on this again. He never struggles at all with working on the sculpture. I can only assume they threw this in there so that there would be some sort of legitimate ice sculpting terminology or knowledge thrown into the movie. As she explains this with great passion that you need power tools, we see that Nick is really taken by her. They train and they train and they train. Next up, they need to figure out what their design will be. We see Emma perusing the town website when she gets an idea. Cut to Emma and Nick at the town museum. Emma looks through old photos of prior competitions. As they review the photos, Emma explains that she hasn't told her mom about the competition yet because she knows her mom would see it as a distraction from her law work. Then she gets a call from Frank the Ice Guy, who explains that he didn't make the anonymous donation. But then who did? Cut to Emma visiting Nick. He had an idea for the design. They don't show it to us, but she sees it and she loves it. We watch them hard at work on their big sculpture. But then Emma gets a call from her mom to remind her that they're heading to the capital for depositions. This is what's going to take her out of town for 2 days. The next morning, the day of the trip, Emma talks her way out of having to go to the deposition. There's some side work that she can do, that she can tend to, and her mom's like, okay, you do that, I'll go get the deposition by myself. But then her mom mentions that she's mostly disappointed because she was really looking forward to working with her daughter again. Emma feels bad. We see Emma hard at work on law stuff while Nick waits for her to arrive at the competition setting. The guy who runs the competition starts things off just as Emma arrives. We find out the sculptures must be between 5 feet and 10 feet tall, which is very tall. It's time to start sculpting. Judging will be done on Christmas Eve day. So not only does her mom not know that Emma has worked very hard to try to save this competition and succeeded in doing so, she also doesn't know that Emma's in the competition. This, as I put in my notes, is absurd. Cut to that night where Nick and Emma are hard at work on their sculpture. They take a break and Emma talks about how much ice sculpting has always meant for her. But then she gets a message on her phone. She passed the bar exam. Nick is way more excited than Emma is. He asks why. She seems overwhelmed. She talks about how being a lawyer has always been the plan for her, but it's not necessarily been her plan, and now that she's gotten to that point, she's not sure what she wants to do. The next morning, Emma is awoken by a phone call from her mom checking in from the deposition. Everything went well with day 1 of the deposition. In fact, it went so well that they don't even need to have a day 2. She then asks Emma if she'd like to get dinner that night, like old times. They can watch an old Christmas movie. Something like that. Emma starts to say no, but then says yes. She heads back to work on the ice sculpting with Nick. Sometime later, when Emma almost makes a mistake carving the sculpture because she's tired, because she's not focused, she almost makes a mistake, and she freaks out, saying she's overwhelmed by everything, and now she doesn't know what she's going to do. Nick gives her a pep talk, talking about the people around them sculpting when they thought they'd lost the sculpture competition this year, and it's here because of her. It's all because of her. So when she feels overwhelmed, just think about what she's already done for these people. He also says that maybe there needs to be a new plan for her since the old plan might not work. Cut to family dinner. She tells her family that she passed the bar exam and her parents are ecstatic. But then Emma feels overwhelmed and tells her mom that she needs to show her something. She takes her to the ice sculpting competition. Her mom is really confused. Emma says she decided to enter the ice sculpting competition with Nick. Her mom is confused. Why was this a secret? It's good to have hobbies, especially with a job as busy as being a lawyer. This leads Emma to tell her mom she's not sure if she wants to be a lawyer. She's not sure she ever really did want to be one. This whole thing was her mom's plan, not Emma's. Her mom is very sad. Nick is there and he explains how this whole competition is here because of Emma. This is when Emma's mom finds out about the rest of the secret, about the fundraiser, about how Emma was organizing it. And I don't think she's nearly mad enough for my taste. Emma talks about how much joy she got out of working with people to make something happen, to make this competition come to fruition. She says this is her choice right now. This is her Christmas. Her mom says she's not very surprised. She knew her daughter was conflicted about being a lawyer, and she also needed a chance to decide what she wanted for herself. And how could she do that if the competition was canceled? Wait, what? That's right. Her mom was the anonymous donor. Emma is so moved. Emma and Nick get back to work. We then get a montage of work being done. As it comes to the end, we see their sculpture appear to be the town hall with all sorts of Christmas accents applied to it. And with that, the Christmas competition is over. Afterward, Emma and Nick tell each other how much they mean to one another. And Nick and Emma win. They win. No one expected them to win except me and you. The guy who runs the festival tells Emma he was so impressed with her efforts, and if she's ever interested, Town Hall could use her help. She says she might just take him up on that offer. Then Nick and Emma wish each other a Merry Christmas. The end. This movie was fine. I did not like the stuff that I didn't like, but the stuff that was fine was fine. That's it for episode 56. That's it for movie 56. That's it for the Christmas Festival of Ice. Oh, MVP. I didn't name an MVP recently. Let's name an MVP. The MVP in this episode is going to be Nick the Liar, because I enjoyed his work in this motion picture, and I did not care for what the character of Emma did. So, Nick, you win this round, buddy. Thanks for listening. Take care, and I'll talk to you later.